How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today we're going to be hating on some more shit. I haven't made a hating on video in quite some time. I think the last one was regarding bout placement for UFC 322 and other events. Today, I've had a lot of stuff to hate on, but recently I've been noticing just like a large influx of people calling every single close fight a robbery based on the person that they didn't want to win winning the fight. So today we're just going to be hating on UFC fans that say robbery way too much. Yeah, especially considering recent events regarding UFC 324 in the co-main event, which is what we're going to start with. Let's start with a definition, though, prior to this. Hate, feel intense dislike for. This has been a definition, actually, for, quite some time. Sometimes people genuinely cry robbery for clear-ass decisions. So we're going to go over the ones that trigger me the most, starting with Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong that just took place at UFC 324. Anybody calling this fight a robbery has no idea how to score an MMA contest. Like, they have no idea what they're doing. Let's go round by round, which is what scoring is. Okay, because I do see a lot of people using the explanation of, dude, you see how Sean was doing in round 3, brah? Dude, the way he was doing in round 3, there's no way that he fucking lost, brah. By the way, if you do not know how to read graphics like this, red equals Sean significant significant strikes, blue equals Song's significant strikes in every round. Sean, Songs sound the same. But I do see a lot of people using the, dude, he was fucking pissing up round 3, bro, there's no way he lost. It's not based on how you look at the end of a fight. It is a round-based scoring criteria, but I think stating that Song Yadong won round 1 is just fucking preposterous. I don't believe there is a way to give round 1 to Song Yadong just based on the fact that, one, of these 10 significant strikes, I actually have no idea of them landed on the head. I think I can see that using UFC stats. Can I? I think I can. That'd be sick. Because I don't really remember a time where Song even landed a head strike, if we're being dead ass. Yeah, Song Yadong landed 0 strikes to the head. All of his significant strikes in this round were low kicks. What are we even talking about right now? And I know some people will bring up the takedown at the end of the round that he got 38 seconds of control time with, which, by the way, he landed maybe at most 1 to 2 pitter-patter shots at most, and that's like exaggerating even pitter-patter strikes. So I don't think there's even a plausible reason to say that Song Yadong won this fight other than you just not wanting to see Sean O'Malley win. Or I think we can all agree that we all like Song Yadong. I think that a lot of people root for him at the bantamweight division just because, his name's kind of funny, but he's also kind of, he's a stout brawler. He hits really hard, this, that, and the other. And it's always been kind of a career tendency for him to kind of fall short in these fights. And it's like, he's got to get one by the end of his career at least. But there's no way that you can think that Song Yadong won this fight other than you just having biased hatred towards Sean O'Malley. That's literally it. Of the leg kicks that he landed in the first round, I don't remember any of them. I'm gonna be honest with you. Maybe some. I'm gonna say that I don't remember a very visible reaction coming from Sean O'Malley, which is what would score those strikes higher than Song Yadong literally running headfirst into jabs and straight punches from Sean O'Malley continuously through the first round just because he was pressuring and getting caught on the way in. That's it. I think Sean's significant strikes he landed over Song's were better. I think he landed way better significant strikes in round 1. And in the takedown regard, you got a takedown, you need to do damage with it. You can't just lay on top and do nothing. We have learned this time and time again, other than some future fights that we are going to, at the end of the video where we're going to talk about robberies that actually are robberies. I only got like a couple. I chose 3 that I really think are truly, truly robberies, and there's no way that you can say otherwise. So, and then round 3, very clearly Sean O'Malley. Round 2, I will concede that it is a very clear Song Yadong round. He beat him on significant strikes, and he had a takedown that he actually did stuff with and had more than 38 seconds of control time. He controlled him for basically the last fifth of the round, maybe even longer. I think it was like a minute 30. And he landed some actual good ground and pound off of that. That's good. And he got a couple takedowns. He didn't just get one, he got 2 takedowns. Round 3, very clearly, Sean O'Malley. There's no way to score this fight for Song Yadong, and if you say so, you're a fucking moron, genuinely. I mean that. I do mean that. If you scored for Song Yadong, you just don't know how to score fights. I do mean that. But this is just one of 4 examples we're going to go through. Let's move. We're going to go back in time a little bit. We're going to go back to 2024 at UFC 310. People will look you dead in your fucking face and say that this fight was a robbery.
Kill yourself.
You have no idea how to score a MMA bout. You have no idea what you're doing in regards to scoring MMA contests. I'm sorry. You just have no idea what you're doing. I think this is one of the clearest fights to score in a fight where a majority of it was grappling exchanges. I'm being dead ass. A lot of fights like that, where it's a lot of back and forth grappling, they're usually kind of harder to score. I think this is the clearest one to score out of this genre of fight where a majority of it is taking place in the scrambles, in dominant top position, in, control positions. Movsar Evloev clearly won the second and third round. I do not care. Round 3, a lot of people are going to bring up, I think Aljo got some slams in round 3. I know we got a slam in round 1. Round 1 is Aljamain. I think that's probably the consensus idea for that round. Round 2 is very clearly Movsar Evloev. I think that's also pretty clear. Round 3 is the round that a lot of people just struggle because, yes, Aljo did have half of a round of control time in the round. That does not also take away the fact that Movsar almost had 2 minutes of his own control time with his own takedown and landed a shit ton of ground and pound on the side of Aljamain Sterling's head. Was any of it significant? No, as you can tell by this significant strike differential from total strike differential. If you don't know, if you look at round 3, 4 of 11 for Movsar, those are significant strikes. 72 of 81, those are total strikes. So that's a huge difference between total and significant. So a lot of those are those rabbit punches on the ground. But he was throwing some thud on the side of Aljamain's head. And that was the difference maker in that round. When Aljo had dominant position, he didn't do anything with it. He did very little with it and was more so looking for submission finishes or top control. Once Movsar got his top position, he beat the dog piss out of Aljamain Sterling. Not dog piss, but he landed a shit ton of volume strikes that the judges will see. Well, when Aljo had top control, he didn't do shit with it. When Movsar had top control, he did a lot with it. I think we're going to give that round to Movsar Evloev. As they should. Rightfully so. This is a clear fight to Movsar Evloev, and if you say otherwise, aforementioned, no. Call it quits, bud. You don't know how to score an MMA bout. Alright? Let's move. We're going to go back even further in time for this one. And then we're going to come back to more present times, 2025. We're going to go all the way back to 2023 is what we're going to go back to. UFC 284. In the main event, Islam Makhachev defended his title against Alexander Volkanovski. This is a fight that did take place, and I'm not talking about the one where Volk was fat as fuck coming off the couch. Okay? I think that this is one of the most egregiously, not talked about fights. I think this is one of the most exaggerated fights of all time, just because a lot of us going into this fight really liked Volkanovski and weren't the biggest fans of Islam Makhachev. If you don't remember, this was Islam right off beating Charles Oliveira. So a lot of people, a lot of the fans were like, dude, fuck this guy. if you really rewatch this fight, and if you have in recent times, dude, it's how I feel about Pantoja Steve Erceg, not Kai, Steve Erceg. After 301, I was super confident. I was like, dude, that's a fucking robbery, bro. And then I rewatched it. This is exactly how Volk Islam 1 is. When I first watched it, I was like, damn, dude, Volk might have gotten that done. But it's because I watched it through a biased viewpoint and was like, dude, Volk's fucking tuning him up on the feet, bro. Dude, he's tuning him up on the feet, dude. And I was mad at Islam because, dude, round 4, he was like, he's doing fucking nothing with the grappling. Which, to be fair, is a valid claim. If you rewatch this fight and look at actual scoring criteria, this is pretty clearly Islam 3-2 or 4-1, in my opinion. The only clear round, in my opinion, that you can really give to Volkanovski without having to score strikes is round 5. And that's because he drops him at the end of the round, obviously. Round 1, I thought Islam did more on the feet. I thought he landed some pretty solid shots. And I think it was either round 1 or round 2 where they both kind of stumble each other. But round 1, I think, was the round that Islam got his stumble, and that's his round. Round 4, even though total strikes, I know that the consensus thing that I used for the last one was this. Total strikes in dominant position. There is a complete difference between what Movsar did against Aljo, which is total strikes in a dominant position, over Alexander Volkanovski having his back taken for literally more than half a round and just throwing strikes behind his head and saying, come on, let's go. Volk, come on. Huge fucking difference. Humongous. Actually, it's huge. Actually, it's the hugest difference. People don't bring it up. It's huge. Huge difference. Round 4 Islam. In between rounds 2 and 3, I don't think that there's a round. I don't think those are rounds that you can give both of them to Volkanovski. I think if you're going to give him a round between the two, I think round 2 is the round where Islam gets stumbled against the cage. Or it's like an off-balance type shot. I think that's probably the round you could give more to Volk. But that's like the tricky thing when it comes to this fight, is round 2 and 3. Round 1, 4, and 5, in my opinion, are pretty easy to score. Rounds 1 and 4 going to Islam Makhachev. Round 5 going to Volkanovski. Round 2 and 3 are close, which is why it is a harder decision to just be like, this is a clear statement, and this is one that you really have to rewatch. I do believe that round 3 is Islam Makhachev, and I think round 2 is a toss-up. But even then, Volk's already lost 3 of the 5 rounds, so it doesn't matter. It really depends on how you score round 2 to get a final synopsis, and round 3 to get a final synopsis. I personally believe that you cannot give both of those rounds to Volkanovski. And to be fair, going into this fight, I didn't completely rewatch these fights. I'm going off a lot of memory stuff. But in round 2, if I'm not mistaken, there was a moment where Volk did drop, quote-unquote. He off-balance shotted Islam Makhachev, and it was pretty close, and he landed some other really good shots in there. But round 3, you know, there's also a takedown for both of those rounds for Islam Makhachev. But I think round 3, he landed more as well with the takedown instead of like completely evens. You know what I mean? A lot of Volk in round 3 was kind of swinging and missing at the end of the day. So I think it's a clear scorecard to Islam Makhachev either way. It's a close fight. But I think this is a fight that is completely over-exaggerated just because we all hated Islam Makhachev and we were all humongous fans of Volk. And once because the hypothesis going into this fight was, the consensus evaluation was Islam's going to fuck him up pretty bad just because Volk is too little. And then we saw Volk go to a competitive decision and we were like, dude, he had to have won. Because at the end of round 5, and again, it's one of those fights where a lot of people look at the last round, dude, look at the amount of damage on Islam's fucking face. A lot of that was done in round 5, if we're being dead ass. Let's move on. This is a personal one of mine because I still see people talking about this shit. Myron Santos Francis Marshall is not a robbery. And anyone who says it is, you're a moron, these guys. I think I got the wrong stats. I think I have the, like the head strikes and shit. Let me pull up UFC 313 on stats so I can actually read them off for you guys, because I have the wrong ones up there. Those are like body. I don't think these tell significant strikes totally. I think a lot of it's because it doesn't have control time either listed. So let me pull that up real quick on the side here. All right, per round. So round 1, we can just skip over because it's a very clear Francis Marshall round. If you don't understand why Francis Marshall gets a knockdown, which is how I can tell that these are not actual stats, because they didn't score that a knockdown in round 1 for Francis Marshall. That is fucking despicable, by the way. Holy shit, dude, what are we doing? I love my dude. But here, these are the stats as follows, because I think it goes head, body, leg, and then I don't know what the other. It's distance, it's significant strike percentage, head, body, leg, distance, clinch, and then ground strikes. Anyways, so round 1, skip over. Francis Marshall clearly won. Round 2, Myron Santos landed 19 significant strikes out of 19 total strikes. Francis Marshall landed 8 significant strikes out of 8 total strikes. He had 2 takedowns, though, for 1 minute and 22 seconds of control. If you rewatch the second round, I shit you not, Francis Marshall does not throw a single strike of ground and pound with his takedowns. I promise you, you will not find a single knee to the thigh. You will not see a stomp of the foot. You will not see a rabbit punch of any kind. We'll do fucking calf throw. We'll talk calf rabbit punch, forearm rabbit punch, body rabbit punch. Those are a little clinch where it's like they have head pressure on the chin and they're like, duh, duh, duh. There was none of that going on in that round. Clear Myron Santos round. Again, and this is another thing that can happen. After a knockdown ensues in round 1, where at the end of the round it's like, oh shit, he has a lot of momentum, they think that carries into the next round, and they're like, it glosses over their scoring criteria and their, viewpoint of the fight. I think the same thing kind of goes for Kamaru versus Colby 2, which I think is at best for Kamaru a draw, if I'm going to be honest with you. That's just me as a Kamaru fan. I score round 2 of that fight at 10-8. You hate on me all you want. I don't give a shit. But after that round, I think a lot of people were kind of fine with the scoring this rounds being scored the way they were. Even though I think rounds 3, 4, and 5 were like Colby was landing a lot. That's another fight we could talk about. But at the end of the day, round 3, Myron Santos landed 21 significant strikes of 41 total strikes, while Francis Marshall landed 15 significant strikes of 20 total strikes, and he got a takedown for 38 seconds that he did land some stuff with. If you rewatch this round, I am telling you, Myron Santos' significant strikes were way better because of this photo right here. He was jabbing the fucking face off of Francis Marshall in rounds 2 and 3 the entire fucking time. And anybody that says this fight was a robbery, like I said, learn how to score fights, okay? I'm hating on you guys. You suck. You suck. Brian Scalabrine. Listen, the guys in the NBA, I'm not so good. But me to you, you suck. You are the worst. I think Myron Santos clearly won this fight. And I think that anybody calls it a robbery just hasn't rewatched it in a while, or cannot clearly see how significant strikes are better or worse than others. So, hate me all you want. Let's get into some real shit. Some real robberies. I'm going to go over 3 quick ones, kind of set the tone. Volkov gone 2. This was a pretty bad one. Now, this is a robbery. Any way you slice it, Volkov won 2 of these 3 rounds. He won round 3 pretty clearly, and I think round 2 is the round he hurts Gane really bad with a spinning back fist. That did happen. And he was tuning him up for the rest of the round. That's another fight. You know what? Let's look up stats for that fight. Let's look it up. We're doing calculator-based scoring right now. All right, motherfuckers? Let's look at this shit. Round 2, Cyril Gane apparently landed more than him. He landed 2 more significant strikes and 2 more total strikes. I am telling you, if you rewatch the fight, I do believe that Volkov's significant strikes were better. I do believe that. And then round 3 is very clearly Volkov. Round 1 was close. I think that round you could even score to Volkov, but I think I gave that round to Gane because of submission attempts, control time, and I think he did land more in round 1. That's a robbery. Clear cut, you're fucking cooked. Robbery. This is an... People don't talk about this one enough. Lucas Dresky versus Martin Budaj. This genuinely might be one of the worst scorecards I've ever seen in my fucking life. Dead ass. This is a really bad one. This one's egregious. Let me... How could I... It's San Diego, so it's Cheeto. So I'll go 299. I'll click O'Malley Vera. I'll click Marlon Vera. I'll click when he fought Dominic Cruz. And then I think it's the very early prelims. Yep, Martin Budaj, Lucas Dresky. Per round, Martin Budaj gets outstruck 25-47 in round 1, 19-43, and 22-34. And those are all significant strikes. Lucas Dresky was teeing him the fuck up. And somehow, some way, we ended up with 2 guys giving 2 rounds to Martin Budaj. And by the way, there's no control time. It was just Martin Budaj lethargically walking forwards and getting beaten the fuck up. Somehow they gave this fight to Martin Budaj. Tell me how. Why? Refs can be fucking dumb sometimes. True robbery. Calvin Kattar, Josh Emmett. This is a personal one just because I'm a huge Calvin Kattar fan. This is a pretty bad one. This was bad because I think one of the scorecards that they gave, I think one of the judges gave round 4 to Josh Emmett, which is the round that Calvin Kattar knocked him off balance in, which is a clear Calvin Kattar round. This fight's weird because a lot of judges kind of looked at it from Josh Emmett's throwing harder. He's throwing heavy as fuck. He's going, rah, he's going fucking sicko mode on Calvin Kattar. All those shots were blocked. I don't think a lot of clear shots actually landed on Calvin Kattar. A lot of them were blocked and landing on the forearms and the guard of Calvin Kattar, but Josh Emmett swings like a fucking ape. So they're just going to be like, he fucking landed hard as shit in that round. Which, you know, it is what it is. Shit happens. But I do believe, if you'll give me a second, I do believe this. This was a robbery. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. If you like the video, give it a like. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Do you guys agree with my takes? If you don't, I would love to hear why. Leave me a comment down below. Do you guys agree? But, yeah. This weekend, UFC 325, Volkanovski Lopez 2 is upon us. Those picks and breakdown will be out for you guys tomorrow. I promise. Wednesday, more than likely 6 or 7. 6 through like 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They'll be up for you guys. All right. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.